Hey guys, my name is Alacia and welcome to my channel, The Sea Life 6. If you're new here, please remember to hit that subscribe and notification button so you can get notified every time a new video comes out. Well, you know what today is? Friday, and we're having Chit Chat Friday. Okay, so go ahead, grab a cup of coffee, grab a tea, grab a soda, grab water, grab whatever you need, sit down, relax, and let's have a little chit chat. Okay, to start off with, I'm utterly exhausted. Like, I feel like I'm squinting my eyes because I'm so tired. It's humid as crap here. It has been for the last couple days. So every time I attempt to straighten my hair because it's curly, it just, by the time I came out here and sat down, it's just frizzing out and starting to do things I didn't want it to do. So I gave up on life. I just gave up. I'm so exhausted. I just gave up. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, every Friday I sit down and I go over what happened the week prior in my family, with my friends, anything that juicy that I saw, we just talk about it. So a great way to keep up on our day-to-day life is to go ahead and follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, and you'll never ever miss out on all the fun stuff on the daily basis if you follow me then. So let's talk about what happened this week. You guys, like, I feel like every week I say with this move that seems to be taking forever, right? This has just been a process that is taking forever. If you haven't watched before, we started moving ourselves because our landlords decided to sell the house before my husband had orders to move. And it changed last minute. My husband got orders, thank God. So now the military is moving us, but like we still have to do things to like prep the home in order to like give it back to the landlords. Like, even though I don't have the best relationship with the landlords, my husband and I are landlords ourselves. We run a house that we own in North Carolina, and we know the struggle of having people that come in the house and kind of destroy it. And we may not like our our landlords, but we're not those type of people. So there are some things that we knew that we needed to fix, so we went ahead and fixed them. We have like stuff on the walls that we had to take down, puttying holes, painting stuff, just making sure to give the home back in at least the same condition that it was when we got it 2 years ago. So been doing all those things, but I swear it's like every time, don't worry, my kids are in the backyard, they're playing, they're gonna scream, they're gonna sound like they're dying. They're not dying, I promise. So every time I feel like I'm like, okay, cool, like I don't have anything else to do, then like a list of 50 other things pop up that I have to do, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just the song that never ends. Especially because like we're moving out of state, so there's like getting my kids, you know, all their doctor's appointments, their final doctor's appointments, getting them their final dental appointments, getting them all their like specialists, and getting like the records and everything together, which that like this week has just annoyed the crap out of me. So like with COVID, obviously there's a lot of restrictions going on with things still. So I've been calling up, especially with my son who's autistic, he has a lot of specialists that he sees. And I've been calling up all the specialists and the doctors, and they're like, oh, well, we're not going to give you your records. You can sign a release and we'll mail your records to your doctor. And I'm like, why? Why can I not just come pick up the records and then take them to the doctor? They're like, well, in case you lose it. And I'm like, what if the mail loses it? Like, what's the difference between me losing it and the mail losing it? Like, what is the difference with that? So that's just been a pain because like I'm just a person that likes to have like, maybe it's because I'm a control freak. I'm just like, I like to have all of my stuff. I like to know that everything's correct. I like to review things, like make sure everything's put in there. And because a lot of things are online, like I can't really do that. Like in the military, I hand carried my records everywhere. Now I know the majority of military medicine now is online, so they don't really have to do that. But like when I was in the military, like you still hand carried all your records, like when you moved around and stuff. So I don't know, it just like I hate dealing with that, because now like if it doesn't transfer or it doesn't get sent or something's not there, like I can't just drive to the old doctor's office and like get it, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be states and states away. So that's just like, ugh, I don't like that part of moving. Then my dog, his rabies tag is really worn down, so I can't really read it. So I do remember where I had him seen last. I know I had gotten him 3-year rabies shots. So I called the clinic and I'm like, hi, can I just get like, can you email me or like print me and mail me off or something records, so I just have a copy when we're taking it to the next, you know, the next vet and everything. And the lady's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. She goes, by the way though, do you know that like his rabies, December 2019, like that ended at the end of the year, beginning of the year? It's like, of course it did. I'm like, no, I can't, because the rabies tag is really worn. That's on his collar. No. So then, like, I'm trying to get an appointment, but because I took him to the clinic that is like attached to the Humane Society, they're only seeing emergency patients right now because of COVID. So then I called base because like they have like they offer services and they're a lot cheaper compared to the places around here, which are insanely priced, which is why I took him to the Humane Society, because they're relatively cheaper, because I couldn't get him on base at the time. And I had to I called them, I'm like, hey, moving, like I need to get things, like I didn't realize he needed his rabies shots, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, okay, not a problem, but you have to fill out like a new patient intake form. For a vet? Okay, whatever. So I go get the paperwork and I fill it out and I give it back to him, and I give it back to the girl. She came out to the car and I'm like, okay, can I make an appointment? And she goes, no, it'll take me 2 to 3 days to process the paperwork. You guys, and this is not me trying to like rag, because the small base clinic that we have, it sees a whole bunch of animals, but the form literally had 5 questions. Had 5 questions on it. It was like, what's the name of your dog? What's the age of your dog? What's the sex of your dog? What's the breed? Like, what's the breed of your animal? That was it. Why is it going to take you 2 to 3 days to process that? Whatever, sure. But the problem is, like, next week is like my children's last week here. Next week I'm taking them on Friday to go back home with my family. I'm gonna spend like 3 or 4 days there. That way they won't be here when the Packers are here because of COVID issues. I just don't want them around, you know, people like that. So I'm gonna take them home and drop them off with my family, stay with my family for a couple days, and then I'm gonna drive back. So I have a lot of like last minute appointments I have to do. On Monday the kids are doing their last dental appointment. Gage has his arm checkup that he has to go do, and I also had to push up his ENT appointment because ever since he was a baby he's had a lot of like ear, nose, and like throat. Like he had his tubes taken out, he had tubes put in, his tonsils and adenoids removed, but even with having tubes he's had a lot of issues with still ear infections and stuff in his ear, and the last couple months he's been having more and more problems. So I had a follow-up appointment from an issue 2 months ago with him. Like I said, he's been my problem child lately. So I had to move his appointment up to, I want to say Wednesday. Thursday the dog is getting groomed by our groomer one last time because I'm taking Crumbs to my cousin who also has an Alaskan Malamute, and they're like soulmates. These dogs, like my dog and her dog, love each other. They love each other. So she's gonna keep him until we get our house in Fort Belvoir when we sign for it mid-August. So I wanted to make sure he was groomed and everything before taking him over there, because nobody wants a stinky dog in their house, right? So I was trying to also get his last vet appointment there. I mean, if I can't get it there, whatever, I'll just take him to the vet that my mom takes her dogs to because he's still reasonably priced. I was just trying to do like all this stuff before I left next week. And then I'll be coming back, like I said, I'll be coming back in like 3 or 4 days, and I'll finish up some stuff here in the house before the Packers come, and then we start with the packing. And then once the Packers are packing 2 days, they're gonna be on the 24th. We move the dates, or they move the dates. They're gonna come pack Friday the 24th, and then again on Monday the 27th, and then they're gonna load July 28th. So that gives me the 29th and 30th to get the house cleaned and make sure everything's good with the house. And that also gives me time to have the lawn with the lawn people, to cut the lawn one more time. My husband just does not have the time right now. He's been working from like 5 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night to do lawn care stuff. And the cleaning company that I have that's gonna help me do some stuff with cleaning, because I have to transport some stuff back and forth. I'm gonna try to clean as much as I can, but I'm not gonna like in-depth clean. I hired someone to come like in-depth clean for me while I'm like doing last minute things around here. And then I'm gonna be doing the final walkthrough on the 31st at 10 a.m. and handing the keys back over, and we'll be done with this. we'll be done with this. We'll be done with this experience. I will then, like I said, I'm going to wait until our security deposit is returned to us. They have 30 days from the time we hand over the keys. So August 30th, y'all be waiting for the tea about this whole property management and landlord situation. Guys, it's coming. Like, I literally the other day sat down to take my notes to write. And the sad part is, like, it's not just the owners, it's the property management company too. And after talking to other people, and this is what I tell people, if you really have a bad experience with something, if you really have a bad experience with a company, you should leave a review, okay? Because reviews are what people look at. You know what I mean? Like, I look at a review for everything before I do something because I want to get a feel for it. Now, I take that with a grain of salt because there's some people that you can just never make happy. No matter what you do, you can never make happy. And you can kind of feel that out when they're writing their review. But most people just are like, whatever, fine, it sucked. I'm just gonna, whatever, I'm just not dealing with it anymore. And that's why this company has kind of gotten away with a lot he's gotten away with. He's also, like, he has monopoly on the area. Like, again, the whole video will come out, but the 31st, like, I'm so excited. I'm counting on the days. My husband and I just can't wait to hand over the keys and just be done with this whole experience. And then we'll go home. My husband's gonna take leave. We're gonna go to Maryland, you know, spend some much needed time with our kids, just hanging out with them during the day. Cause like I said, my husband's been working like from 5 in the morning to like 8 o'clock at night, going in for some things on the weekends, and like he really just hasn't been able to like spend a lot of time with the kids. So we're gonna go in August, we're gonna spend time with the kids, and then on the 18th we're gonna sign our lease for the housing, for our house and military housing in Fort Belvoir, and then hopefully everything will start to get better. My kids also, my oldest 3 also still have camp from August 10th to the 21st, which they're so excited didn't get canceled. Like, they're so excited that it didn't get canceled, and they're gonna be hanging out with other kids. There are some things that obviously they had to adjust and break up because of COVID, but they are so excited, you guys, that they get to be hanging out with other kids. I take them to the park daily, but it's just this summer, again, because of everything going on, it's still not the same. Like, there's just not kids there, and they're so done playing with each other. Like, they're so done playing with each other. But okay, so let's get back on track with what exactly happened this week. So I started going through like paperwork and everything I have. We didn't hear, and I feel like I've had some like DMs of people being like, if you move so much, why do you have to go through so much stuff? So when we moved up here 5 years ago, we had the military move us, and we like decluttered and everything, but I also had my youngest child being here, and then we moved ourselves this last time, and because like we didn't have a lot of time, I didn't go through things like I normally do. We literally packed everything up, whether we needed it or not, threw it on the U-Haul, came over here and just put it away. So there's just stuff that like we haven't used kind of in years, like some stuff in the shed that we got rid of. So we've really been going through that. My husband and I have just been going and taking trips to the dump, taking stuff to donate. I've been taking piles and piles of stuff to donate. My kids have a ridiculous amount of toys because my family, like, we, you know, everyone buys birthday gifts and everybody buys Christmas gifts, and they just accumulated a lot of toys that they weren't playing with, that weren't broken. So I've been donating a lot of stuff lately. And then let's pull up to Wednesday. Okay, Monday and Tuesday I'm just bebopping around, doing my thing, going through stuff, not a problem. Wednesday I had to leave the house at 9 a.m. because the house is having a home inspection for the buyers that are renting it. I mean, by the buyers that are buying it, which obviously, like, I own my own house, like I understand that whole process. So that part, like, I wasn't upset about. I'm like, okay, cool, no worries, like, we'll go to the park. So I leave at 8:30 with the kids, make sure I'm out the door in enough time. I put the dog in the cage and I leave. Now granted, we have a Ring doorbell, okay? So I know when they were like coming and going, all that stuff. Well, they got here probably a little after 9, no problem, and they were doing their thing, and I actually heard on my doorbell, I guess they didn't pay attention when they were here the couple of times they did the walkthrough, that the dog was, like, my dog is very chill, laid back. He really doesn't bark at all. He only takes like an aggressive stance if he knows something's going down, okay? So if you're not bothering him, like, he really just, So they didn't know that there was a dog there. So I heard the woman say on the Ring doorbell when she came out, she's like, I turned around and there's just these eyes staring at me. It scared the crap out of me because I had him in the garage. So that was pretty funny. But I went and hung out with a friend that morning. We went to the park. We went back to her house, had lunch. We had the kids play. And then around noon, I came back and I went into the house and I let the dog out through the side door of our garage. And I'm like, okay, I let him out, came inside, had the kids go to the bathroom, sat down at the table. I was gonna start making lunch. And I went over to the back door to call my dog back in. Now, again, this is a story about the property management company, but I've already blasted him for this, so they're quite aware. I go to let the dog in and I'm calling and calling and calling and calling. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm looking around, he's not there. I then notice that the side gate is open. Now, my children had already gotten in trouble over the weekend because they had left the gate open and he'd gotten out, okay? So I had been making sure before letting him out each time the last couple days that the gate was shut because my children had already made that mistake. So when I let him out Wednesday morning, I knew the gates were shut because I went out there and I checked prior to letting him out because I didn't feel like dealing with that. So leaving him out, I'm looking around, I'm like, are you serious? The gate's shut. And then I looked on the other side and I see the other gate's open and my dog is just gone. So now I have to take my kids, toss them in the car or get them in the car, buckle them up, and we go and we're riding around. I'm yelling the dog's name, I'm putting posts up on Facebook groups and nothing. I spend an hour driving around the neighborhood, the local area, yelling his name out the window. Then finally, I almost hit him myself because he darted out in front of my van. He must have heard me calling him and he darted out in front of my van, but he came out in between two cars, so I didn't see him until he was right in front of the car. And I almost hit him myself. So I get him in the car. I'm like, fine, got him in the car, came home, made my kids lunch, got them settled down for a nap. And I texted the property management company and I'm like, you know, I'm not happy right now that I had to, like, this whole situation wouldn't be a problem if the owners would have just waited until we were 100% moved out to put the house up for sale. Like, I wouldn't have to be constantly running around making sure my house that's half, you know, half unput together because of moving. Like, things are taken off the wall and there's just stuff everywhere. You know, when you're moving, there's just stuff everywhere. Have to make sure things are like stacked in a neat pile so they can walk around for showings and everything. It really was annoying. It was highly annoying. And like leaving the house, and here's the thing, like they're supposed to give us 48 hours notice, right? And there was a couple of times where we were here and they called me and they were like, hey, we have a last minute showing. And it wasn't that big of a deal because my husband and I and the kids are already out. And I was like, sure, fine, it doesn't matter, we're already out. But I would tell him every time, like, you have to give me 48 hours notice. Like, right now I'm gonna say yes because I'm not there and I don't feel like leaving again in 2 days, but you have to give 48-hour notice, right? So this happened twice and finally I was like, no, we're done. And then it didn't matter because people put an offer in on the house. And I texted him and I'm like, hey, like, once again, you have someone in the house, they're not paying attention, they leave gates open, I let my dog out, now he's gone. Like, this is not okay. Like, I'm really upset about this. And my response, it was like, okay. So then, like, I just blasted him. I just let him have it. And I'm like, if my dog would have died because it got hit by a car or he would have been lost for good, my husband, like, I called my husband on the boat, he's at his limit. I'm like, we would have been calling lawyers because enough is enough. Again, I haven't said everything to you guys about what happened, but this particular thing happened this week, so I feel like with my Chit Chat Fridays I have to recap that. But because of what's happened over the condensed period of the last 2 years, like, I just utterly have had enough of them and their nonchalant attitude and their meh. Like, for the fact that, you know, we pay out the butt for this house when we rented this house knowing that we were going to be paying a higher price for it because of the area and everything we lived in. Like, we already knew that. So it's like a hard pill to swallow when you are putting the money out to rent something and you're keeping it in amazing condition, because they've said to us before, like, your house is so, like, it's so clean, it's so organized, like, this is the best, one of the best rentals we have, and we have like over 200 and some rentals, because I treat things with respect. Alaskan Malamute, 10 years, he's 10 years old. Like, so yeah, that was Wednesday. Me, you know, spending all day searching for, not all day, spending over an hour searching for my dog, hoping to God that I was gonna find him, because we aren't gonna be here that much longer. And he is microchipped, but the problem is his microchip, the address to it is from when he was a puppy, and it was like 5 houses ago. And I've never been able to get someone to properly update the microchip. So like, they would someone would scan him if they found him, but they wouldn't be able to contact us because all that information is old, because I can't get someone to update them. Now, Base is telling me that they know how to update it, so hopefully we can get it updated, and I'm gonna put the address that we're going to, and update like the phone number and everything in there. But yeah, I just like, it just blew my mind that, you know, granted, I know he didn't do it, like the property manager, but like, I'm telling you because like, you're the one in charge of the house. And you think he would have been like, you know what, I'm so sorry about that. Let me reach out to them, tell them like, hey, when you're going into people's houses, please be mindful. Like, you left the gate open, her dog got out. Like, this could have ended really badly. No, it was just, okay. I don't know. Am I thinking too much into that? Like, put a comment like down below if you think that I'm overthinking that. I just feel like that's what I would have done if I was the property manager and someone called me, one of my tenants called me and told me that this happened, or texted me or emailed me and told me this has happened. I would have been jumping on the people that had just, the realtor that had just come to my house and been like, hey, Mommy, yeah, I'm bleeding. Let me see. Mommy. Wait. No, you're okay, you're not bleeding.
No, Mom, bother me.
Okay, you're not bleeding, babe, you're fine.
No, Mom.
Okay, let me get, that's your underwear imprint on your skin, sweetie. Yeah, okay, you're okay.
I found the thing.
Oh, you fell on the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, you guys are okay. Alright, go back out and finish playing, because we're gonna go inside and have lunch, and then it's gonna be nap time soon, okay? Okay, go back out back and play, okay? Let me finish up with this real quick. So yeah, like I said, maybe I'm just overthinking that. Maybe I'm just like too much of a considerate person, right? Right. Let's see, in other news this week, what happened? Not really too much of anything besides that. Just a lot, like I said, a lot of just going through stuff. Paperwork, like I found paperwork that I had for a car 2 cars ago. No, it was 3 cars ago. When we first moved up here 5 years ago, I had a Honda Pilot before I got pregnant again. And then we went and I got a Honda Odyssey, and I got T-boned. My husband was deployed and my kids are in the car, and it totaled the car. And then I got another Honda, and that one was like, it was a really bad lemon. And then I went to my Sienna, which, by the way, if you were looking for a van, Toyota Sienna is where it's at. Like, I get it, like a lot of people are like, oh, well, it has an old look to it. Like, yeah, it does, but I promise you, I had only owned Hondas from the time I was 16 until last year. I've had my Sienna for 1 year. So like almost 15 years, I've had nothing but Hondas. From a 2-door Civic to a 4-door Civic to the Honda Pilot to an Odyssey. I was just a Honda, I was a dedicated Honda owner. But after we got our 2018, like the new remodeled ones that look like little spacecrafts, and you guys, I was so excited because it had all these gadgets. It had a rear view, like it had a built-in camera. I could see the kids in the back. It had sliding seats. It had all this stuff. But guess what? Everything electrical in that car went to crap. Everything. And it's sad because even the mechanics at Honda were like, they jam-packed so much stuff in here that's electrical that they didn't, their own mechanics were telling me they didn't like design the electrical portion of this right, and they had nothing but problems. If you own a Honda Odyssey, like a 2018 and up, look on the recalls for the sliding door. I have had every single part replaced on that sliding door. There was an issue with the sliding door, and it was actually replaced because it wasn't latching correctly. Like it would close, like it would shut, and then it would beep 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 and come back open because the latch thing wasn't correct. The digital dash went out on me when I was driving down 95 on my drive home with the kids one time. Just the whole digital dash went out. I didn't know how fast I was going, didn't know how much gas I had in the car. Like I had, like right before it went out, I had looked and saw how much gas I have, and I was going off my phone. I put my phone up and I was going off the miles that were ticking on my phone to know if I needed to get gas or not. Yeah, it sucked. And every time I would take it in there, like I had video evidence of everything, but it didn't do it all the time. So I would go in there and sometimes it would do the problems and sometimes it wouldn't. And they were like, oh, because we can't duplicate the problems, there's nothing we can do. Even though I would send them the videos, I would do all this stuff. We just got tired of dealing with it. We wound up having that van in the shop like for 6 months out of the year that we had it, and we were paying a car payment, and we were calling, and we had a case open with Honda and everything, but they were refusing to mediate with us. And I told my husband, I was like, look, like we just don't have the time to fight this. Like we don't have the money to go and purchase, like, because my husband's car is paid off, so we only wanted one car payment, okay? And I was like, we'd have to go purchase another car, leave this one sit here, continue paying the car payment on this car, have this car, like a new car, until we were able to get a lawyer, go to court and fight. And that can take years to finally get a settlement. So I was like, you know what, nope. I went to a dealership. I found a really nice used, it was a year old. It was a 2017 because I got it last year in 2019. So it was 2 years old technically. And when I got it, it was like only 20,000 miles in the van. Really nice. I got a fantastic deal on it. I talked them down because there was a couple of things that I found with the van that like I don't really care about, but it could hurt them trying to sell it. Just cosmetic things like scratches and stuff. So I wound up getting like a ridiculously good deal on the car that we have, and we're gonna pay it off like super quick. So yeah, that's my van story. So if you want a van and it's all-wheel drive, I can take this bad boy off-roading, you guys. I've done it. My kids, we were at a family party, and my kids trotted off in the woods with one of their older cousins, and had to go searching for him, and I off-roaded that bad boy looking for him. So my kids, you guys, they're fun. But anyway, that's my van story. This week, nothing really crazy happened. Next week is gonna be jam-packed though. Like I said, Monday we have to drive like 40 minutes to the dentist. There's dentists that are closer, but this particular children's dentist had really good ratings with them helping, like dealing with children who are autistic. And my son went from being deathly afraid of a dentist to loving that. Like when we pull up at their office, they're like, yeah. So to me, that's worth the drive. So I have all 4 kids getting their yearly exams done. All 4 kids are getting their cleanings. We do cleanings every 6 months. So they're gonna have that done on Monday. When Tuesday, like I said, I have Gage's arm thing. Then he has to have his ENT appointment. I have to get the dog groomed. I'm trying to get the dog to the vet. I'm packing up the rest of the stuff that I need to take for my kids to have, since some of our stuff is going to be going to storage until we get our house. Like it'll be like in storage for a 2-week period. I want to make sure I have like all my kids' clothes and everything. And then on Friday, we're hitting the road, Jack, and going to Maryland. I'm gonna be driving like super early in the morning. Not super early, okay. It would have been, I say super early now because I don't get up at 5 o'clock anymore. When I was in the Navy, you know, up at 4. Hi. Up at 4 and 5 o'clock, hold on. Oh no, he ran away. I was up at like 4 and 5 o'clock every day. Now, like, I mean, 6:30, 7 is what I'm normally up. But we'll be leaving by 5 to drive down there. So, and then I'll be back doing stuff with the house. I'm going to be video blogging our moving journey. Watch out if you're military for PCS videos that are about to come out. If you need help with stuff when it comes to PCSing. What?
There's a bee in the house.
There's a bee in the house?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I saw that. I did on it.
You did sell it?
Yeah.
You did sell it? Okay, I'm gonna get it. Okay, well we have a bee situation that I need to go take care of. So thanks for chit-chatting with me. Shh, we're gonna go get the bee. Bye, see you next week.